And welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, it's time for our discussion on Monday's special. And as I told you earlier, in the wake of the 3 billion shilling Ekeza SACCO shutdown, we're asking how you can be sure that the SACCO you are a member of is operating above board and that your money is indeed safe. And joining me now to my immediate left is the Commissioner of Cooperatives, Mary Mungai. Welcome to the program. And to my right is SACCOs Society's Regulatory Authority Chief Executive John Walker. Welcome as well. And for the purpose of this program, we'll just call it SASRA, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's quite a mouthful.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah. Mary, I just want to start with clearing up some facts. So currently, this 3 billion shilling Ekeza SACCO, which you ordered deregistered, is being audited for failing to comply with various regulations. To the extent that you can tell us, at what stage is this audit and when will you be able to make public your findings?
Thank you very much, Anne. As I said, we cancelled the registration of Ekeza SACCO because of non-compliance. And that means their mandatory requirements were supposed to submit to the commissioner, which they were not. And one of them is the audited accounts. We normally have 3 years for them to give us their books, but because of pressures from Wananchi, we decided to deregister after calling them to give us the accounts, and they did not give us. So we cannot say exactly how much is at stake here. All
right. But can you say at what stage your audit is?
Right now, as you also, we put the degazettement in the Kenya Gazette. We give them 60 days to appeal to the minister, because once I set the order for cancellation, they cannot appeal back to me. They have to appeal either to the minister or to the High Court. We are now waiting for that period to elapse. If no complaint has been brought to the minister, then we'll go on. We've already put the liquidators in position. They have already been appointed, and once that elapses, they'll just go in.
Okay.
Yes.
So for those who are worried tonight and thinking that they have lost everything, this was very much a go-to kind of SACCO, if you like. Even for, low-income earners, they put all their savings into it, and they're saying, I've lost it all. What can you tell them?
What I can tell them at this point, we will put in the liquidators. Then the liquidators will freeze all the assets that they are there, take account of all their liabilities, and see how they can distribute those. They'll produce a scheme of distribution so that they can know how much is at stake, what is there, and how much it can be given back to the members. But this will be on a pro rata basis. That is if there is any loss of money. If there is no loss of money, then like he's assuring us, then we'll be able to give back the members all their deposits back.
All right.
Yes, sir.
John, you see, stories like these of Ekeza, I beg your pardon, make Kenyans worried about, the safety of some of these vehicles. And as the regulator overall, what would you say the health of the sector is?
Thank you very much, Anne. Just before I answer your question, let me just put SACCOs in perspective and probably explain a little bit to Kenyans what SASRA exists to do. SACCO Society as a regulatory authority is a regulator for SACCO societies in Kenya. And SACCO societies in Kenya actually are in two broad categories. We've got SACCOs that operate quasi-banking. They operate what we call front office savings activity, sort of a bank. And then we've got those that do not. Ekeza, for example, is not a deposit-taking, so to speak, within the confines of the SACCO Societies Act. And so for the deposit-taking SACCOs, which actually are conducting quasi-business, we regulate them under the SACCO Societies Act. And therefore, we do regulate them under the prudential regulations. And therefore, SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority exists to regulate these SACCOs under prudential regulations. Two, in terms of the health of that sector that we regulate, I can assure members of the public and Kenyans in general that we are in good health. Because the non-performing loans actually have been tamed for the last, say, couple of years since we began regulating SACCOs. And we can see the deposits of members of these SACCOs have grown tremendously, and loans as well as deposits. And therefore, there is assured safety of members' funds within the SACCO industry.
Are you able to, at this point, tell how many of these registered entities are not compliant?
Let me confine myself within the 176 regulated SACCOs that we regulate under SASRA. All the SACCOs are complying, generally, so to speak, because, again, you cannot miss one or two parameters that all of them are not really complying to the letter.
And there are 4 ways in which you measure that.
Yes.
But if we were to, for our own purposes tonight, to say they get 3 out of 4, and that is close to a near clean bill of health.
Let me use the parameters, actually, that will be better representative of the sector. When you look at say the banking sector and the SACCO sector, you will find that the SACCO sector, the non-performing loans currently stand at slightly above 6%. And that is quite healthy in terms of the sector, so to speak. In terms of membership, really it has grown from 3 million to 3.6 million, just indicating the faith that members of the public have in SACCOs. So generally we are saying it's only about 6% of the SACCO loans that really could be non-performing.
All right.
Yes.
Mary, before Kenyans put their money in SACCOs, what do you think they need to know in terms of their registration and their general, credit health?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to mention briefly, cooperatives is a form of togetherness where members come together to fulfill a given need. And so when members are coming together, they know exactly what they want to fulfill. When you talk about cooperatives, we have cooperatives that deal with marketing of coffee, tea, sand, and many others. SACCO is just one type of the cooperatives. Right. And so when members come to a SACCO, there are bylaws that they come and propose to us, and we register if they meet the threshold of the Cooperative Societies Act. So when they come together to save and get credit, their main objective is getting credit, saving and getting credit out of the savings. And then a member then is supposed to pick the money once you get a credit to go and invest in whatever you want, whether it's buying land or buying a house. And I want members to know that. So one of the things that a member should know is that when I'm joining this, is it meeting my needs? Because we say the general membership is the supreme organ of that particular organization. He is the consumer, he's the investor, and he's the owner. So the ball lies on the member because he is the owner. He's supposed to oversee. If anything goes wrong, he's supposed to question the people he has given the mandate to lead them. And this is where members are falling short because they are leaving the running of the cooperative at a given level and not being participative in it.
And many times you'll hear people say that, we can't even remember the last time there was an AGM.
Now that is where the problem is, because it is your right that every year, once you're registered, if we registered you like maybe a month ago, you're supposed to hold your registration your AGM within the first month, so that you pick your elected leaders, you pick your bank account, because this is another thing that we are seeing, that people are putting money into individuals' account and not in a corporate or a SACCO's account. You also give them the borrowing powers and all those things. We are saying the member's right is for him to go and vote. He's entitled to education. He's entitled to information. He's entitled to economic participation, because if you're there and you're not participating, then you're not a member. Then one of the other key fundamentals for cooperative is that we have concern for the community. It is an inclusive club because we want to address a given specific issue. So cooperative is a very important tool in issues of inclusivity and equity. So when members relegate their power, that's when problems start. And I want members to know that a cooperative, you are the owner. Don't say it belongs to so and so. Once you start hearing a cooperative, yes, it is a cooperative among members, as opposed to leaving it to an individual to run it.
John, what would you say the members of the public must be aware of first when they're choosing where to place their money? What should they be looking out for?
Of course, SACCOs and the cooperatives still remain very popular in this country. Actually, it is within our gene. You will find that almost every company that is existing in this country have got a SACCO. And therefore, they are very popular, so to speak. But let me just mention something that Mary might have just left. The mechanism, complaints mechanism, that is there, and even arbitration mechanism that is available for members of cooperatives, really, and SACCOs for that matter, to air their grievances and seek sort of arbitration where they feel that there are no proper responses that are coming from their members. We've got cooperative tribunal that is existing. We've got complaint desks that are existing. For us at SACCO Society Regulatory Authority, SASRA, we've got supervision officers, we've got compliance officers that are available, and they are assigned particular SACCOs. And therefore, it is important that members get in touch with us where they feel that they've not been given sufficient response to some of the issues that come in.
I beg your pardon, John, because I do want to come back to the tribunal and how it works, etc. But before that, just at the point that you're considering, you know, using a SACCO to save, or let me use the banner cooperative movement to save. What should one be very aware about in terms of its performance, its financial health? Instead of, you know, we tend to do this a lot on a referral basis. I'm saving here, why don't you come, etc. And not a lot of, you know, research or follow-up is done by, you know, an individual into this entity that they want to put their money in, surprisingly, and you're putting everything in it.
Actually, within the bylaws of a SACCO and a cooperative society, for that matter, it's a requirement that the officials, that the directors of the cooperative are supposed to educate their members. It is actually not a privilege. It is a right that once they are elected into the office, they are supposed to reach their members by means that are existing, because there is a budget that is existing for these officials to educate their members. So if they are scattered across the country, it is upon the director and the leadership of the cooperative to ensure that they educate them. Secondly, and most importantly, we encourage members of a cooperative to ensure that they understand the financials which are presented to them on regular basis. And where maybe they do not have really, they are not really very well versed with their financials, they should seek some assistance from, say, commissioner's office, officers who are located across the country in all the counties, as well as officers from SASRA. And therefore, this information is available and is a requirement. In fact, I'm encouraging members of cooperative societies where a whole year has gone without them seeing the financial statements of a SACCO to get in touch with us, so that then that information is available to them.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, first, they must always get the bylaws of that particular SACCO they want to join. See whether the aspiration is what they want. Secondly, they have to note the area of operation, because normally we give those SACCOs an area of operation. Because if you are in a far-flung area, not within the common area that particular SACCO is operating, already you are going to be swindled, because who will guarantee you wherever you are? Right. Because cooperatives is learning one another, having a guaranteeship mechanism so that you can get a loan. So, and the issue, of course, there is a cooperative officer right at every, I think, ward or county. Talk to them. Do your due diligence. The cooperatives that are fully compliant, there's a website. People can go there and check. And
the website would be?
In the cooperative, www.cooperative.go.ke.
Okay. Yes. www.cooperative.go.ke.
And for SASRA.
Okay. And for SASRA?
For SASRA, we got www.sasra.go.ke.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those two websites, and we'll give them to you again at the end of the broadcast. But let me phrase the question now in reverse. What would be the warning signs that something is amiss with my particular cooperative?
The warning sign we have said?
Well, financial statements. We talked about not seeing that in 12 months. Not being called for an AGM would be
another one. Being promised things that are not in the normal domain. When you're being told, we are going to do this, and they're outside your objectives as written in the bylaw. That's another very interesting. Okay. When you hear a SACCO being related to particular individuals, that's another side. When you hear a SACCOs, this side of the coin is a SACCO, this other side is something else, tied together, and the same line, we are talking about something else and a SACCO together, that's something that we need to...
And that was the case with the KEZA, because on the one hand, they had the savings part, but on the other, they had the land buying company. And so you're saying...
There are those telltale signs.
Those two faces are not proper.
They are not proper. They're supposed to have... When you go to a SACCO, you're going to a SACCO's office. You are not going to another...
So if my SACCO promises me, in addition to this, it can build me a house or buy me property,
we normally say there's another avenue: come register a housing cooperative or come register a land buying cooperative. Okay. So that those two are distinct.
Okay.
I think it is important for us to unpack cooperatives, because the word cooperative is so generic and very general. Cooperatives are of different types and for different purposes, and their purposes and objectives are clearly set out in the bylaws that really establish the cooperative. For SACCOs, SACCOs is an acronym for Savings and Credit Cooperative. Therefore, when a SACCO purports to be a housing cooperative, that is a clear sign that these fellows are in trouble or are about to get into trouble. Right. And therefore, it is very important that members understand that a SACCO is different from a housing cooperative. And if a SACCO is going to engage in a housing program or activity, then it has to use another vehicle within the SACCO, either investment cooperative or a housing cooperative, but not the SACCO deviating from its core mandate, which core mandate here is savings and credit. Collect savings from members and disburse loans to them. They are not experts. SACCOs are not experts in property development. It must be done by the professionals. And when you now mix those two, they become very toxic. And the end game is that members of the public and SACCO members lose their money.
Yeah, the toxicity here is that if it is a SACCO, you will not be able to follow the chain of that money. And that's why even right now, we have a small policy saying we don't want to do investment cooperative, because you could invest in shares, you could invest in housing, you could invest in trading and all that. When you come, we want you to tell us your key area of investment so that it is we are able to follow that chain of the money.
And one of the many things that our viewers have written into us and said is their SACCO is not allowing them either to withdraw money, or sometimes they are sweetening it with the promise of a loan at some crazy interest rate. Anything other than actually handing cash back, should that be a point of concern?
Yes, and I think I want to tell viewers out there, there are so many cooperative SACCOs that are being formed today. Like on every month, I am registering over 200 SACCOs. That means it's going to be a lot of competition. And the strong SACCOs are going to survive. Which means if you are not performing properly, people are going to move out. There will be a run on your SACCO. So the issue, when you start hearing members saying we are not getting our loan in the stipulated time, we are not getting refunds, those are other signals that should be telling you there's something that's not quite right.
What is the first port of call in terms of reporting one of these entities where one believes it is not operating properly?
For deposit-taking SACCOs, or what we refer to as FOSA operating, and of course the word FOSA stands for Front Office Savings Activity, the first point of call, of course, it is your officials and probably the staff that work within the organization. Because, you see, a cooperative is a private organization that came together with a purpose of empowering members. And therefore, the officials we elected, that should be the first point of call. And remember, again, in a SACCO, there is what we call a supervisory committee, comprised of 3 officials. So if a member is not satisfied with an answer from the directors, they should move to the supervision committee. If the supervision committee, again, is not helping, the next point of call should be either Commissioner's office or SASRA's office and county offices, because all the county offices today, they've got directors of cooperatives, we've got chief officers that are there and they are in charge of cooperatives, and even a commissioner for cooperatives in charge of a county. And therefore, the cooperative officers that are within the county and the office of the commissioner at national level and SASRA, then we should be able to receive these complaints as soon as they feel that they need to let us know. And these are public offices, and they should be able to get in with us as quickly as it is practically possible, because it is those kind of complaints that give us a pointer as to where we need now to begin interrogating the SACCOs, so that then we can be able to save this. Because we have a situation again here where members wait until it's too late. And even some of the promises are beyond imagination, that you are told that bring your money here and you are going to give you a return of 18–20%. And today, that is not really tenable. And so those are some of the issues that we would encourage, that let members of SACCOs get in touch as quickly as it is practically possible, and we shall be able to deal with those issues.
I just want to reiterate, cooperatives are private entities, but offering a public good.
So, right.
Because when a cooperative is dealing with 150,000 people, it no longer becomes, private. So it's private, but offering a public good. The other thing I wanted to mention is that when you see a problem, he has rightly said, talk to your officials and talk to the staff. But members have the power also. When they see things are going wrong, they call for a meeting. And it's in law, they can call for a meeting. If that doesn't happen, they now go. And I want to say, cooperative is devolved. There is a county level, and those officers are the first point of call. And those officers normally will deal. If something is getting out of hand, then they will let us know. Occasionally, we'll get letters directly from members to the national office, but we refer the matter back to the county. In the event it doesn't get over, or in the event that a SACCO is now operating beyond their area of jurisdiction, then we now get involved. And I also want to mention, cooperatives normally are in a given area. So these cooperatives know their members. When we hear cooperatives going on the air, not specifying the area of operation, not specifying the common bond, the member they're supposed to be dealing with, opening it out, please members, take care. There's something not right, because cooperatives have an area of operation. If you're dealing with saloon people, we'll be talking about that common bond. But now when you're dealing with saloon people, you are dealing with what, and your bylaws don't allow that, then there's a problem there. Again, I said it is a member-driven activity. It is economic. It has social, it has economic, it has sustainable, environmental sustainability. Members, when they sit, if it is a SACCO, we agree we will be loaning. Please let them know. It is them that gives proposals to the elected leaders. They say to talk about 12%. If you're loaning at 12% and you want a return of 20%, where will the officials get that money from? Remember, members, once you give out borrowing powers, this is something the members are supposed to give. They appoint the auditor, they appoint the bank, they elect their leaders. What else do? They do a few things. But when you give your leaders a green light to borrow, and you don't oversee, at the end of the day, when we put things in liquidation, it means that you are likely to be paying for that, because that is your SACCO. Let them know that they have the power to oversee and to decide on the particular issues.
I mean, a lot of what I'm hearing from you, because we're out of time, is really that the responsibility does lie also very much with an individual member. It is run by you. It's up to you to be up to date with the financials of your particular organ, and be sure that it is making sense to you. I'm going to give you those websites again: www.cooperative.go.ke and www.sasra. Is that correct? .go.ke. I beg your pardon?
Sasra.go.ke.
All right.
But before you just close...
you have a minute. Just a minute.
Allow me just to let members of SACCOs know that it's not all doom and gloom.
No.
SACCOs are the leading providers of homes in Kenya. They are the first call for a loan, according to FinAccess survey that is conducted independently by FSD Kenya and CBK. And therefore, we provide credit for self-development, and therefore our rates remain very competitive and very friendly. Let me assure them that SACCO Society's Regulatory Authority is on top of its game in terms of taking enforcement action against officials that mess up SACCOs. against staff members of these SACCOs that mess. And we have done that.
Personal liability? Personal
liability. And we have taken actions against very many SACCOs across the country. And we will not shy away from doing that. So let them ensure that they conduct business with the diligence and with the members or their members in mind as they do it. And we will ensure that, of course, these funds are really protected as is required by the law.
Mary, yes, just, of course you get that. Of course
just
now you're going to find a word. Go ahead.
To say is that coffee, agricultural cooperatives that deal with coffee market 70% of the coffee in this country. 70% of the dairy milk is marketed through this. The SACCOs that have audited their books have savings to the tune of 600 billion and asset base of 800 billion. They have lent out close to 600 billion. We are saying there are cooperatives that are doing wonders in this country. And I think it's time people who want to take advantage of members really shape up, because a cooperative model is a noble particular activity or a vehicle that can be used by a country to ensure that equity and inclusiveness is achieved.
I thank you both for your time and your views, and remember to look at those websites, check out your particular SACCO and look at its financials, consult a SASRA officer. You're located where in Nairobi?
We are located at UAP Old Mutual Towers, Upper Hill.
UAP Old Mutual Towers in Upper Hill. Floor. That's if you're in Nairobi, and you could find their other locations on their website. Thanks for watching tonight, and a happy Easter Monday. I'm Ann Kiguta. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.